You know, Walter Isaacson was pointing out to us, he's surprised we didn't see oil rocketing more on this news that yet another international company, this time BP, is eschewing those waters around the Red Sea, Suez Canal, because it's a risky area with all these attacks. David Malpass was coming up here, the former World Bank president, who was echoing the same, that it could have been a lot more of a black swan event, and it might, but he's kind enough to join us now. David, great to see you.
Hi, Neil. Good to see you.
What do you make of this? It's the one part since the Mideast war broke out on October 7th where oil prices are actually lower than they were. The global equity markets, for the most part, especially our own, are a lot higher than they were. What do you make of all of that?
Well, we can hope that Iran and Hezbollah don't get more into the Gaza, into the attack on Israel. So then separately, you've got this incident going through the Red Sea. It's a reminder of how much of the world's oil moves around on the oceans. You know, it's really expensive in terms of freight costs, right, but also in terms of emissions. So all these tankers are going in part because the world oil market is so distorted. There's not the pipelines that are needed. The Jones Act is a big interference in the U.S. So you're spending all this money moving oil through the Panama Canal. Why would that be happening? Well, it's because the pipelines don't go to the west coast of the Canada and the U.S. So I think there could be a lot of efficiency gains for the world in recognizing emissions costs and freight costs and doing it more efficiently.
Others have said, and you got this pressure when you were running the World Bank, you know, we need to be much more aggressive regarding climate change and cleaner energy and all the rest. And if we didn't depend on all this fossil fuel related stuff, we wouldn't be in the pickle we're in, you say.
There needs to be a calculation of how's the best way to get greenhouse gas emissions down. And you know, that's not what the world's doing. It's maximizing how much can be spent on these matters. And so that's, again, not a way to have an efficiency within the world. And the reason we want that is because there's so many people in the world that are poor. We forget that sometimes in the U.S., though we have our own problems with homelessness and with people under minimum wage or not really having jobs that should have jobs. But around the world, it's much worse. And that comes from not having an efficient allocation of resources. And we can talk about the Fed if you want. There's the same thing on interest rates. So we've got these big areas of the world that are not maximizing. And that means median income in the world just isn't rising. The rich are doing fine. At Christmas season, people that work for bonuses are doing well. But people that work for wages are really feeling the higher prices.
You know, you said that in a way that proved the fine line you were walking when you're running the World Bank. That you know, goals like clean air and all that are all well and good, but you can't do it at the risk of economies and creating more poor people, essentially. But that would often fall on deaf ears. I mean, I know you were under enormous pressure saying, no, go, you know, climate change on steroids, and I get that. And you were not against that reality, but you had to balance it.
People forget that if you spend more on climate in a poor country, that means you're spending less on child nutrition, you're spending less on education.
But did they hear you say that? I mean, you did. I remember distinctly saying it.
But imagine these conferences. So you're talking about 80,000 people in a conference whose major goal is to spend more money on whatever it is, either on electric vehicles.
Countries like ours and others to do that.
Well, they do that, but there's no movement in that area. The shifting of the burden, it really isn't happening. So it ends up being each country takes it out of their own budget and tries to spend more on expensive solar panels that aren't really available and not on adaptation, for example, to climate change.
And we forget that there's got to be a market for this. You can't force the issue on people all over the world. Forget this country where EVs and this technology isn't what these governments and efforts have taken us. Many are saying maybe hybrid is the way to go. Toyota maybe gets that. But where are we in this?
Well, Wall Street loves the idea of carbon credits, meaning things that you can trade on financial markets.
Absolutely.
But the problem with that is underneath there has to be somebody that actually reduced emissions. And so far, no one is really raising their hand on doing that. They want to buy carbon credits so they don't have to reduce emissions. So you end up with outcomes that don't meet anyone's goals within this system.
Was that a frustrating whole experience for you, the World Bank thing? I mean, you did a great job there. And But again, you run into this buzzsaw criticism if you don't preach from the same choir book.
Well, I knew it was a hard job going in. It's one that I've been, the World Bank issues I've been involved in since 1984, literally, directly involved. And so I knew
I didn't know you were that old.
Barely. And so I knew that it was going to be a challenge. And so we had a clear mission, which is to have people's lives better, the people in developing countries, not necessarily their governments, because a lot of times the governments are in the way of advancement. So how do you get people's lives better in a world that's really very interested in spending huge amounts of money on electric vehicles? And so for people, so a frustration was to keep the focus on development, on countries changing and reforming, and the governments allowing people to get advantage. We see now in the central bank area, this I'm changing on you a little bit, but the Fed said last week it's going to cut interest rates. Who did that benefit? Interest rates didn't go down, so the bond market and the stock market went up in price. So that helps people that have assets, and that's a narrow group. A lot of them in the U.S. They love that. That was great.
We don't know.
But the short rates are still at their peak. And so most of the world that works for wages, their companies are borrowing at floating rate, and it's going to be months and months before there's any rate cuts. So the pressure, I think, is still on, and we're concentrating wealth at the top end. That's the frustration that I felt at the World Bank.
And you elaborated on that, and very eloquently, I might point out, and that curve is flattening here. That could be problematic in and of itself. Yeah. David, so good seeing you, my friend.
Good to see you, Neil.
Thank you very much. David Malpass on that, the former World Bank president, former Deputy Assistant Treasury Secretary under Ronald Reagan. So he looks young, but he's actually old, right? Something like that. All right, we have a lot more. I'm kidding, by the way.